Digestion. This will be the lecture 8 on digestive system. I'll be looking on the mechanism of digestion in the body. Digestion is the mechanical and chemical alteration of food that allows the absorption and use of nutrients. So before we talk about digestion, first I have to know some of the essential nutrients that are going to be needed. And these essential nutrients are the ones that are gotten from the classes of food that we have. And a typical meal contains the following classes of which are the carbohydrate, protein, lipids, water, electrolytes, and vitamins. Of all these classes of food, only three of them were going to undergo digestion. The other three are in digestible form. The three that are going to undergo digestion are the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the lipids. While the three that are already digestible form are the water, electrolytes, and vitamins. In digestion, one of two things that take place in digestion is one, there is processing and absorption of nutrients, in which the digestion helps in the breaking down of the physical structure of the food. They assembles the component molecules, and molecule released into the bloodstream are absorbed by the cell, which means after digestion is when the nutrients gotten from digestive mechanism will now be absorbed. And broken down of this nutrient also help to provide energy for ATP synthesis, or they are used to synthesize carbohydrates, protein, and lipids. So the digestive enzymes that are important in digestion are secreted by some part of the organs of digestion that we have discussed. We have the first one, the salivary gland, that secretes the salivary amylase. We have the tongue that secrete the enzyme lingual lipase. We have the stomach that secrete the pepsinogen hydrochloric acid. We have the pancreas that secrete the pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lipase, trypsinogen, and pancreatic nucleases. And we have the small intestine that secretes the enterokinase, peptidase, maltase, sucrase, lactase, and nucleotidases. So these are the enzymes that are secreted, and these are the glands that or the organs that secrete them in digestive system. The role of digestive enzymes is to break the molecular bonds in large organic molecules, which are the carbohydrates, protein, lipid, and nucleic acid, in a process called hydrolysis. So hydrolysis is a process in which the digestive enzyme breaks the molecular bonds found or present in the large organic molecules, which are the carbohydrates, protein, lipids, and nucleic acid. And these enzymes are divided into classes by target. We have the carbohydrates, which are the enzymes that break bonds between the simple sugars. That is the carbohydrate. Proteases, they are the ones that break bonds between amino acid, and lipases separate fatty acid from glycerides, which means the carbohydrates, they act on carbohydrates, proteases act on protein, and lipases act on fat and oil. The digestive enzymes also have they are also called a brush border enzymes that also act on nucleic acid, and they break nucleotides into sugars, phosphates, and nitrogenous base. So these are the digestive enzymes and their function. I said we have four categories. We have the carbohydrates, lipases, proteases, and nucleases. So the carbohydrates, the enzymes under carbohydrates are amylase, the maltase, the sucrase, and the lactase. The amylase is the first one, and they are secreted from the salivary gland and pancreas. Salivary gland, they are called the salivary amylase, and the one in the pancreas are called the pancreatic amylase. And the pH of amylase is 6.7 to 7.5, and they act on carbohydrate, the complex carbohydrates, and the product is disaccharide and trisaccharides. And also other enzymes under carbohydrates are the maltase, sucrase, and lactase. And all these three enzymes are secreted from the small intestine, and their pH is between 7 to 8. So the maltase act on maltose, the sucrase act on sucrose, and lactase act on lactose, and their products are monosaccharides, which are the glucose, galactose, and fructose. The second class of enzyme is the lipases, that is, and the enzyme is pancreatic lipase, and they are secreted from pancreas. This pancreatic lipase has a pH of 7 to 8, but they target the triglycerides or the fat and oil, and their product is fatty acid and monoglycerides or glycerol. The third enzyme is the proteases. The group of enzymes that are called proteases are the pepsin, trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, and peptidases. Pepsin, the first enzyme under proteases, they are secreted by the stomach with pH of 1.5 to 2.0 because the stomach environment is acidic, and this pepsin converts protein, acts on protein, and produce is polypeptides. The trypsin or the chymotrypsin or carboxypeptidase, they are also secreted from the pancreas, but their own pH is alkaline, which is 7 to 8, and they also act on protein to produce a polypeptides. While the third enzyme is the peptidases, that act on that are secreted from the small intestine, and they convert polypeptides to amino acids. And the last group is the nucleases, which is also from pancreas, and they act on nucleic acid and converting it to nitrogenous base and simple sugars. So that is uh, the digestive enzymes classes that we have and their function. This figure is trying to show us which region of the digestive tract is digestion taking place, and what part of what food is being digested in each of these regions. The first region is the oral cavity, and if you look at this table, only carbohydrate is digested in the oral cavity, and the enzyme that is acting on carbohydrates in the oral cavity is the salivary amylase that is secreted from the salivary gland, and this salivary amylase is one that convert the carbohydrate into disaccharide or trisaccharides. And in the esophagus, there is no digestion taking place. The next region is the stomach. Also in the stomach, carbohydrate is not acted upon by the stomach. Lipids is not digested in the stomach. Only protein is digested with the help of the enzyme called pepsin. And this enzyme pepsin is one that converts the protein into polypeptides. So in the stomach, digestion of protein takes place, in which the pepsin released by the gastric juice in the stomach converts protein to polypeptides. After the stomach, we have the small intestine, and the pancreas secretes into small intestine an enzyme called pancreatic amylase that also converts carbohydrates the same way salivary amylase has done into disaccharide and trisaccharides. Also in the small intestine, the bile salt and pancreatic lipase act on lipid, in which the bile salt will emulsify the lipid, and the pancreatic lipase will now convert it into fatty acid and glycerol, which ends the digestion of lipids in the small intestine. And also in this small intestine, the pancreas also secretes an enzyme called trypsin, chymotrypsin or carboxypeptidase that will convert the polypeptides in the stomach, and these polypeptides, when they enter into the small intestine, these three enzymes will now convert them to short peptides. And in the intestinal mucosa, we have the brush border and cell body of the intestinal mucosa. At the brush border, we have the lactase, maltase, and sucrase, and these three enzymes, they act on the carbohydrates, the disaccharides and trisaccharides. The lactase purposely they act on lactose and convert it to glucose and galactose. Maltase will act on maltose and convert it to glucose, which is also a monosaccharide. And sucrase will act on sucrose and convert it to glucose and fructose, which is also uh, monosaccharides. Still in the intestinal mucosa, the lipids, as we undergo diffusion, so that they will be, because after they have been digested in the small intestine, in the mucosa of the small intestine now, they now be transported into the bloodstream, and they will transfer in form of chylomicrons and form a lactea, which is a white fat depot. And the proteins that are already in polypeptide in short peptide stage, the enzyme peptidase will now convert the protein to amino acid. So the monosaccharide that has formed from the carbohydrate, and this monosaccharide, which are the glucose, fructose and galactose, will now undergo facilitated diffusion, and they will now be absorbed and transported into the bloodstream, while the lipids will now be also be transported and stored in form of chylomicrons, and also enter into the bloodstream in form of chylomicrons to form a white uh, depot or father call it lactea around the tissue. And we have the amino acid, which will also undergo facilitated diffusion and co-transport method, enter into the bloodstream and transported by the capillaries to where they will be needed by the body. So this is a table or a chart showing us the region of digestion of each of the food that are going to undergo digestion. These are the carbohydrate, lipids and protein, and they are, and the bloodstream is a region that is telling us the way they will enter into the bloodstream. So after we have discussed the digestion of and absorption of protein, carbohydrates and lipids, the remaining three calories of food that we have is the water, electrolytes and mineral salts. The water, they are not going to undergo digestion because they are already in digestible form, and electrolyte and mineral salts. But how will they be absorbed? For water, cells cannot actively absorb or secrete water. So all the movement of water and the electrolyte across the lining of digestive tract involve passive water flow down the osmotic gradient due to the electrolyte movement. The vitamins, they are organic compounds that require in very small quantity. So and they are divided into two major groups: the fat soluble vitamins and the water soluble vitamins. So the fat soluble vitamins are easily absorbed or dissolved in a fat form, while the water soluble, you need the water to do their own absorption. So these are the only two ways in which the vitamins are absorbed: either fat soluble or water soluble. The last thing we'll be discussing on digestive system is the effect of aging on digestion, and there are so many age related changes that can affect digestion and absorption. The first one is if there is decline in duration of epithelial stem cells, the digestive epithelium become more susceptible to damage by abrasion, acid or enzymes. For example, in the stomach, where the epithelial lining is simple cuboidal epithelium, when the epithelial lining around this cell decline, the gastric juice in the stomach contain an acid, and if this epithelial lining are not there to protect the epithelium of the organs any longer, this acid will subject the organ to damage by causing more erosion to the wall of that organ. Second one is the smooth muscle tone. When this smooth muscle tone and general motility of the muscles of the organ decreases, the peristaltic contraction become weaker, because when we are discussing making some peristaltic contraction, the muscles, the longitudinal and the circular muscles, are the one that are always contracting to propel the food along the digestive tract. So when the muscles has lost their uh, motility and the tone of the muscle has decreased, that means their contraction will now become weaker. They won't be able to propel the food or the bolus faster as they are doing it before. Number three is when there is small cumulative damage from toxins. For example, when there is too much of intake from alcohol and other chemicals, and these toxins has causes a cumulative damage to the organ. And when these alcohol are absorbed by the digestive tract and transported to liver for processing, they won't be digested. For example, alcohol, they won't be digested in the liver, they won't be absorbed, but they will be there accumulating themselves and causing more damage to the liver. Also, as aging setting, the rate of having colon cancer and stomach cancer also rise as we age. And among elderly smokers, there is also a possibility of having oral and pharyngeal cancers, because there will be more deposit of these toxins from the smoke on the oral cavity and in the pharynx. And also you can have dehydration. Dehydration can also affect digestive system at old age. And osteoporosis, loss of bone mass, which can reduce the level of calcium in the body, can also affect our digestive system. And lastly, we like to integrate the digestive system with other system and see whether there is any relationship between digestive system and other. The digestive system is extensively integrated with other body systems. So the first system we're looking at is the integumentary system. How does integumentary system benefit digestive system? How does digestive system also integrate with the integumentary system? Firstly, the integumentary system, its role in digestive system is to provide the vitamin D3 needed by digestive system for the absorption of calcium and phosphorus. That is the role integrated system is performing for digestive system. And digestive system is also providing lipids for storage by adipocytes in the subcutaneous layer. So the integumentary system produces vitamin D, which is needed in digestive system to absorb calcium and phosphorus after they have been removed from the meal that was taken. So vitamin D needed for the absorption of this calcium and phosphorus is provided by the integumentary system for the digestive system. And the digestive system also gives something back to the integumentary system by providing lipids for storage by adipocytes in the subcutaneous layer. How does skeletal system also integrate with digestive system? Skeletal system, axial division, and the pelvic girdle, they support and protect parts of digestive tract, and teeth is also important in mechanical processing of food. What are the parts that this axial division and pelvic girdle is protecting? We have the vertebral column and also the part of the ribs that is enclosing the abdominal cavity, and also we have the pelvic girdle, which is also occupying some part of the large intestine. That is the protection they are given there. And the teeth also helps in mechanical processing of food. And the second, the way the digestive system is helping the skeletal system is that they absorb calcium and phosphate ion, which will be useful in bone formation, and they provide also lipid for storage in yellow marrow. So the lipids that are going to that are also produced from the digestive system are also stored in yellow marrow of the bone. So the skeletal system protects digestive tract, and the teeth help in mechanical processing of food, while the digestive system absorb the calcium and phosphate ion for use in bone matrix formation, and also they provide lipids for storage in yellow marrow inside the bone. Nervous system integrates with digestive system through the autonomic nervous system that regulates the movement and secretion of the bolus and or the secretion of enzymes in digestive system or the hormones. And they also reflects their reflexes also coordinate the passage of materials along the tract through peristalsis by acting on the muscles that help to move the material along the tract, and they also has a controller skeletal muscle that regulates ingestion and defecation. That is why when you are putting food in our mouth, the activity of chewing the food with the head of our tongue, the tooth, the pharynx together before we swallow the food is under the uh, control of the nervous system by controlling the skeletal muscles that help to masticate and move the food around in our mouth. And also for defecation, it is the nervous system that also control the sphincter, the anal sphincter, which is internal and external sphincter, which is under voluntary and involuntary in mechanism that helps in defecation. They are under the control of nervous system. And also nervous system has the hypothalamic center in the hypothalamus that help us to control hunger. So when we are hungry, they are the one that notify individual when we are hungry, and also when we are satisfied, satiation, they are the one that also notify us or control our satiation, and also they control our feeding behaviors. But how the digestive system integrate with nervous system, they are the one that provide the substrates or the materials essential for neurotransmitter synthesis. So for easy communication between the neurons and the neurotransmitters in the brain, digestive system provide the substrate, especially the glucose or the essential nutrients that are needed for their synthesis. Endocrine and digestive system also has a relationship between themselves. The endocrine system hormones secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine that stimulate the constitution of sphincters and depress digestive activity. That is why when we are at rest or when we are doing an exercise, it is this endocrine hormone that secrete this epinephrine and norepinephrine, which help to stimulate or constrict our sphincters or depress their digestive activity. That is why when we are doing an exercise, we know that at that time the sphincters in our body, they are always constricted to prevent maybe defecation, uh, movement of food up and down. That is why they limit our digestion activities at that time, and they also they coordinate activity along our tract. But how does digestive system help the endocrine system? They are the one that provide nutrients and substrates to the endocrine cells, and also the endocrine cells of pancreas secrete insulin and glucagon. We know that pancreas is part of digestive system, so they also secrete insulin and glucagon that is also needed in the body to convert excess glucose to glycogen, and also liver produce the enzyme angiotensinogen, which is useful in the formation in the release of some hormones in the body. Also we have the cardiovascular system and digestive system. The cardiovascular system, they distribute hormones of the digestive tract, they carry the nutrients of digestive system and water, ion from their site of absorption, and they also deliver nutrients and toxins to the livers. So cardiovascular system, they are the one that distribute all what is needed by the digestive system, and all what they produce, they are the one that distribute them or carry them to where they are needed, and it's they are the one that also deliver nutrients and toxins to the livers. While the digestive system absorb fluid to maintain normal blood volume. They also absorb vitamin K needed by the cardiovascular system, and liver also help to excrete the heme or the bilirubin that is gotten from red blood cell destruction, and they also help to synthesize blood clotting proteins. The lymphoid system and digestive system. The lymphoid system, we have the tonsil and other lymphoid nodules along the digestive tract that help to defend against infection and toxins absorbed from the tract. And also lymphatic vessels also carry absorbed lipid to venous system. But digestive system secretion, which are the acid and enzyme, they help to provide non-specific defense against some pathogens, which means some secretion in the digestive system also help in assisting the lymphoid system in fighting against some pathogens in the body. Respiratory system also assists the digestive system in defecation by increasing thoracic and abdominal pressure through contraction of respiratory muscles. If there is no respiratory muscles, when you want to defecate, and all the pressure you need at the thoracic and abdominal level are being provided by the respiratory muscles contraction in order to allow defecation to take place. And digestive system organ, they may press against the diaphragm in order to assist in exhalation and also limit inhalation. So that is how the digestive system integrates with respiratory system. And we have the muscular system and digestive system. The muscular system protect and support digestive organ in abdominal cavity, and they are the one that also control the entrance and exit of digestive tract. And also, they are the one that contract to move the materials or bolus along the digestive tract. While the digestive tract liver or digestive system liver, they help to regulate blood glucose and fatty acid level among the muscles, and they also metabolizes lactic acid from active muscles. Urinary system. Urinary system are the one that excrete the toxins absorbed by digestive epithelium, and they also excrete some bilirubin produced by liver. So some of the toxins absorbed and some that are produced by the digestive system are being excreted by urinary system. But digestive system are the one that absorb water needed for urinary system to excrete waste product at the kidney, and they are the one that absorb iron needed by the urinary system to maintain normal body fluid concentration. So you can see how they work. And we have the digestive system roles on reproductive system. The digestive system are the one that provide additional nutrients required to support gamete production, and also in pregnant women they also help in embryonic and fetal development. Thank you. Thank you. And this is the end of digestive system. And in 2 days' time, we are going to release our assignment or a test will be conducted on digestive system. Till that time, enjoy digestive system.